Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September 5th, 2023 legislative meeting for York City Council. 6 p.m., so we will start with public comment on non-agenda items only. Up first, we have one form. Ms. Clayton.
This is cool. Hello, my name is Pamela Clayton, and I am a 41-year taxpayer at 437 South Duke Street. And the reason I'm here today, I gave you some pictures. The first picture is of a sign, emergency route sign, that it keeps growing these weeds around. I did it a couple times, but I don't know who's supposed to be doing that. And they said that maybe y'all could let me know who does this, who cleans around those. And if you see the second picture, that's more close. This is on Duke Street, the 400 block. And I just don't know who does this stuff. I did it the first time. And if you look at the third picture, that is Duke Street. My question is, these trees that the city planted, who trims them? And when do they get trimmed, if they do? Because they're growing out in the street, and it's making a lot of the areas dark, especially at night. The next picture I have, I'm concerned about 455 South George. I've seen a lot of kids hanging around there, and as you see, it's vacant. It has a tree growing in it. It has all kind of different stuff. If you go to the next page, this is the tree growing inside the house, and this is the side of it. And if you see these two trees here on Maple Street off of George, they're meeting right there together, and it's very, very dark, almost into the street of cars driving by. Okay, my next picture is also of Maple Street. That's another tree that's growing out into the street. And I was just wondering, who trims these trees? And my last picture is Hess Gas Station. And Miss Betsy gave me a little help or a little hope about Hess Gas Station.
And we'll keep that quiet, yeah.
Yes, Hess Gas Station. What's going on with it? This is the ugliest corner in this city. And it's just ugly. And I'm wondering, who's doing what with it, who owns it, and if there's gonna be anything done about it. The city is coming along so nice and everything looks so beautiful around here, but why does that corner have to look like that? That's just my question, and that's all I have. Any questions for me?
Thank you very much. I do see on here that you would like for a reply to occur via hard copy, just paper. Do you want email or a phone
Either,
call?
you can mark them, it doesn't matter, but I just would like to know who I can go to about the weeds and who I can go to about the trees.
So what we normally do is we will forward this to administration, and then administration will get back to you with direct answers in regards to who's responsible. I believe there's a bit of history when it comes to the trees. I don't know if Vice President Washington wants to share the tree history. Feel free to.
Oh. Thank you, President Walker. In regards to the tree history, I know several years ago, many years ago, the city of York planted those trees. It was a partnership with Crispus Attucks at the time, and they planted those trees, and there was an agreement, an unwritten agreement, that the city of York would maintain those trees. And I know at one time when I was employed at Crispus Attucks, an email request was to cut the trees down, and it was stated that because there was no written agreement or anything, that the trees were that they weren't able to do it. But I'm hopeful that they can be cut down because it is a huge eyesore to our city, our beautiful city.
It's causing darkness a lot at night with the trees. I mean, daytime, of course, they're hitting cars, some of them, but at night is really making the area dark. Thank you.
Yes, we will forward this to administration. If you would like, you can put your email on this form as well, and then they can reply back to you either way for communication. Oh, if you have a pen.
Yes, thank you.
Any other public comment on non-agenda items only? Hearing none, we will adjourn our public comment session. And it is 6:05 p.m., and I will call our legislative meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Dennis.
Here.
Buckingham.
Here.
Rivera.
Here.
Washington.
Here.
Walker.
Here. And if you were able to, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag
Thank you. You may be seated. We will take action on previous meeting minutes from August 15, 2023. Council, any changes to those minutes?
None.
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes are approved. No presentations, awards, or announcements. Our next legislative meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, September 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Agenda items are due by 12 noon on September 13th. A public hearing is scheduled for September 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in council chambers to receive public testimony on a request for a residential permit parking area for Creston Road. And our next council committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in council chambers. Agenda items are due by 12 noon on September the 20th.
Madam President, I just wanted to interject real quick that for the public hearing, we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. It's just a quick little something for you guys.
Thank you. No reports for prior committee referrals, so we will move to our legislative agenda. Up first, final passages of bills and resolutions. We have final passage of bill number 46, and that is moved to approve.
And that's Bill number 46 that was introduced by Sandy Walker, amending the 2023 budget using $200,000 in ARPA funding for Life Path Christian Ministries.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council?
No.
I do see a representative from LifePath. Any questions or comments from the public? Would you like to say anything?
All I can say is thank you. Thank you very much, and we enjoy the partnership and look forward to continue working with the city.
Any other questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Rivera.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. And that is so ordered. Moving on to final passage of bill number 47.
Move to approve.
That's Bill number 47, which was introduced by Queen of Washington at the August 15th meeting of council, amending the 2023 budget by appropriating revenue and expenditures for year one funding received from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for a grant for federal coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery for funds for law enforcement support initiatives in the amount of $488,910.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council?
I have none.
Any questions or comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I made it past the booby trap, whatever's going on here with this flooring, but good to be here. For all of the strengths we have with our department, and there are many, many strengths, this continues to be a weakness. When we deploy or intend to deploy these surveillance systems, we should have some sort of impact framework, even if it's just a scorecard, particularly for something like this, where we can weigh the pros, the cons, and the associated risks. Because there are always risks. It shocks me that every time that we introduce new pieces of technology and intend to deploy them, there's not much discussion. It shouldn't be this way. Because then when things do happen, we have to sort of unravel ourselves from the knot backwards. We could be a lot more proactive, and I think that we should be. Some of this stuff is very expensive, and not only that, one pitfall or one misuse is going to impact your ability to do other things. And this type of system, depending on which route they go in terms of deployment, can be very conspicuous. It's not something you can sneak up on necessarily, and just because of the type of system it is. Let me tell you, when people see it, they're going to talk about it. You fail to define it. Now, what's going to happen is the community will define it on its own. May or may not be a good thing. I think we could do a lot better than this type of introduction of technology. But of course, what else would I say?
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Dennis,
Yes.
Buckingham,
Yes.
Rivera.
Yes.
Walker, Washington,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. And that is so ordered. Moving on to introduction of bills, we have introduction of bill number 48.
So introduced.
Bill number 48, introduced by Queen of Washington, amending the 2023 budget by appropriating revenue and expenditures for the CDBG home grant funding reflecting changes due to Queen Street project and budget edits with reconciliation with HUD system.
Moving on to introduction of bill number 49.
So introduced.
Bill number 49, introduced by Queen of Washington, amending the 2023 budget by appropriating revenue and expenditures for the immunization and vaccines grant in the amount of $50,000.
Moving on to introduction of bill number 50, and it's so introduced.
Introduction of Bill number 50, amending the 2023 budget by appropriating expenditures from the American Rescue Plan Act funds for a nonprofit recovery program for impacted 501c3 and 501c19 entities located within or provide services within the city of York in the amount of $1,030,000.
And moving on to introduction of a resolution establishing fees for Article 1713.
So introduced.
And that's resolution number 84, introduced by a Queen of Washington, and is establishing fees for Article 1713 floodplain management of the codified ordinances.
Moving on to new business. These are items to consider for a consent agenda. Is there a motion to proceed with the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Aye. Council, please review items 7 through 11. If there are any items you would like to pull, please share them. We have 7. Any other items? Is there a motion to approve items 8 through 11?
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from council for items 8 through 11?
I have none.
No.
Any questions or comments from the public for items 8 through 11?
I have none.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Dennis.
Yes.
Buckingham.
Yes.
Rivera.
Yes.
Washington.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. That is so ordered. Those items are approved. And we have item 7 that was pulled, which is a resolution accepting the recommendations of HARB.
Betsy, that's your introduction.
So introduced.
And that is resolution number 85, introduced by Betsy Buckingham. And it is accepting the recommendation of HARB in issuing, in issuing a certificate of appropriateness for work to be done at 213 South Pine Street.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments from council?
I have none.
Any questions or comments from the public?
No, you have to come
You
up
have to
and
come
tell
up
us.
for your,
Yeah.
yes. You're welcome.
Boy, trying to keep up with you guys, I have to be honest with you. So we're trying to perform some
Tell
installation
us your
of-
name first, I'm sorry, and where
My
you're
bad.
from. Yeah.
I'm Marcus Wright. I'm from Aspen Home Improvements. We're a contractor for the homeowner here on 213 Pine Street. So we're trying to perform some installation of vinyl windows on this project, on his home. So we stood in front of the Historic Society, and they had approved the back side of the home, and they also approved the front side for the entry door. They explained to us they could not, they're not allowed to approve vinyl windows on the front side of that house. So they suggested for us to come in front of you and, plead our case. So if you don't mind, I'd like to share with you something.
Yes.
So on this particular block, there are current windows that are vinyl. Everywhere it's highlighted is vinyl windows, and that's on the front of the homes. And I'm just gonna assume that on the backside there's vinyl also. Now, whether they got approved by the city council or the historic district, I don't know. But we're trying to do the right thing and get the approval from the city prior to doing anything. He did try to go with a window that was recommended by the Historic Society, but the cost is literally 4 times of what we're charging. And as you all know, passing the bills you did today, the economic impact on not just the city, but this particular homeowner can't afford to do that. The issue that he's having now, his windows are painted shut. Heaven forbid there should be a fire. He can't get out of his house. The energy efficiency of the wood windows he has now is not giving him any help at all. So the product we're trying to put in, which is, has all the bells and whistles as far as guarantees and such, is an Energy Star product, which in turn will save him on his energy bills. Also, it'll make the neighborhood look nicer. So he has full intentions of trying to bring the property back to what it originally was. Right now, the house has vinyl siding on the front of it, where originally was brick. His plans are to pull that vinyl siding off and then refinish the brick to bring it back to the original standards. Now, in the process of him living here, his neighbor actually agreed that he will pay half of it because his house is attached to someone else. So his neighbor's actually, by what he's doing to his home right now, he's promoting the whole neighborhood to do things and make the entire neighborhood look nicer. So I plead to you to say, hey, look, he's trying to fix up his house, but not only that, while he's doing this, there's other neighbors recognizing it, and they're bringing the standard of their homes up also.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Do you have any photos that you can provide us?
100%.
Okay. And with the windows, I'm looking at the sizes. Is there a significant change in the structure?
The structure, I'm sorry, should we go back?
Yes, yeah, no problem.
So the structure, the sizes, the shapes, none of that changes. We're simply just taking the old out, putting new in. So we're not asking to redesign the home look. We just want to update it and get it looking nice for that neighborhood. So if you don't mind, I have a brochure of what the windows look like. I'd like to share this with you. I mean, I went as far as bringing the actual window with me if you want to look at that. That's, that's up to you. But I'm going to warn you, if I show you the window, you might want to buy windows from me, so.
Sure.
A good selling point. Can we get the homeowners to come and introduce themselves?
Hello, I'm Michael Butcher. I'm the homeowner. This is my fiance, Luis. We moved here from Arizona. We're trying to...
I'm sorry, what's Luis?
Luis.
Luis Moncada,
What, spell the last name?
Moncada.
Thank you.
And like I said, we're trying to renovate our home. We've been very excited about owning an older home, especially one that we know is going to have character. The character's been wiped from this home. Like Marcus was mentioning earlier, we went with them not just because of cost. They custom built these windows to mirror almost identical to what the original windows look like. It's just a different material. It's not going to look any different from what we've seen, and we're very excited about this. It's just the whole idea of going with something that's $30,000 more puts a bit of a wrench in the works for us to continue to move forward with making this neighborhood look, to the potential that it has. I mean, we've gone as far as even speaking with all of our neighbors and local business owners. There's a barber shop right on the corner of Princess and Pine, and they're all willing to agree in doing some sort of like co-op to clean up our neighborhood. You can see even right outside my front step and my neighbor's front step, we put a new tree out there. We've cleaned up the flower beds that are out there. We're really trying to come in and just make it better than what it was when we first moved in.
Is there any color change to the windows that you want to replace?
There is no color change. It's going to go to just the white. It's
Okay.
what it's underneath there. It's storm windows have been added over time,
Okay,
and it hides
okay.
all of it. So I'm not even 100% sure what's
Understand.
underneath everything, but I look forward to finding out.
Thank you.
That was my question, connected to that. So the storm windows are what, is the metal? Are they wood windows behind the storm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of them have been, I was actually looking at them a little bit closer on our front. Some of like the top sashes have been screwed shut. They've put in pieces of wood, and I mean, these are all things that we knew we were getting into certain things, but we didn't expect to run into the issues that we have with just trying to get the windows approved. So it is one of those things, again, we're trying to keep things as original as we can as far as looks, but going with something that is a little more energy efficient, something that's a little bit more modern as far as materials, so we know it's going to last much longer. That's one of the things on the reasons why we went with Aspen Home. There are windows guaranteed come with a 50-year warranty against discoloration, against breakage, all of that. So that was one of the things that was a selling point. If anything were to happen, we know it's going to be repaired with no questions asked.
Harb is pretty consistent, so, and you've got to admire their work. But I applaud you guys for being here to state your case on why you would like their decision to be reversed. So my question to you is, they approved, what exactly did they not approve?
Their concern was verbatim that they have to hold the line on what materials are used public facing, which was street facing right there on Pine. They were not concerned and again, this was said verbatim, they were not concerned about the back end of the home. That's why they were willing to partially approve our request.
And then they asked you to come to council to state your case.
Yes, sir.
And I don't think anyone from Harb is here, right? Okay.
What's your timeline?
We were scheduled for 3 weeks ago to have everything installed until we found out Harb had jurisdiction and had to approve it. We weren't, again, being from Arizona, not aware that our home was even anywhere in a historical area at the time.
When they purchased the home, the realtor.
You can come up to the microphone, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
When they purchased the home, the realtor didn't disclose in their purchase agreement it was in a historic society. So, I mean, that's not an excuse, but
It's not the first time we've heard that either.
yeah. So, I mean, the historic society said, well, you could go after the realtor. Like, who's going to do that, really, right? So, but that's the issue we're in right now, and we're just trying, as a company, trying to help our customer out as best as possible.
I actually would like to drive past the property, just to look at the windows. I wouldn't be opposed to, actually, I'll make this motion to table this until our next legislative meeting. If there is a second from council, then we can vote on that. Okay, there's a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? This will appear on our next legislative meeting agenda, which is
September
September
19th.
September 19th.
I also do encourage, you are welcome to go on to Zillow or Trulia, and you can even see pictures of the interior of the windows. And zoom in on them, you will see parts where they have been screwed shut, that they are painted shut, so you can see that as well.
Thank you.
Of course.
Request for future meetings, as City Clerk Thompson mentioned, we will have a public hearing on September 19th, 2023 at 6 p.m. to receive public testimony on recommendations of the Traffic Safety Committee for a residential parking permit area for Creston Road.
That's actually what I was going to tell you, so I don't have to say anything now, I guess, because that's what it is. And it is by, just wanted to make sure my mic was on. Our ordinances say that once the Traffic Safety Committee makes their recommendations, that it comes back to council, and then council's required to hold a public hearing and then vote on the recommendation. So I would imagine that the public hearing will probably just take a few minutes, but I'll make sure that in your packets for your next meeting, you'll have the recommendations of the Traffic Safety Committee, because I do have those in my possession. If you want it sooner than the Friday before, let me know. Otherwise, it'll be in your packet before the next agenda. Okay?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you. And I do know that we have had communication about this issue on Creston Street from the homeowners.
Thank you. Any council comment?
No.
Administration comment?
I'd like to thank the administration for the new computers. I'm working on my new laptop. It's a Surface laptop with a touch screen. It's wonderful. I love it. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Gotta be careful, they got you.
What do you say? I covered up the camera on there, though. Just never know, Big Brother could be watching.
That's what I'm saying. Administration, they be watching you.
All right. With that being said, we will adjourn our meeting. Everyone have a good evening.